What's going on, guys? Welcome in here to Rover Sports. Wanted to make sure that we are rolling here on YouTube, and just wanted to see if you guys, could log into the channel. It's looking pretty good. It's looking like we're live right now, and when somebody comes in, then we're going to get some live viewers. So. It's nice to be with you guys. I know it's a really late night, and I know that some people are gonna watch this tomorrow. But let's fucking do it, baby. Lil Ghost is in the house. How are you, man? What's going on? 7 people are actually watching this show, which is pretty unbelievable. So I can follow the chat, guys. Follow the chat, and let's get to it. So here we go. Our first guy. Reuben Foster was arrested. Holy shit. Why was that the case? What the fuck, man? He's savage for a reason. Reuben Foster is a guy that, I thought was, I didn't think he was a troublemaker whatsoever. It's the first time he ever got arrested. It doesn't make any sense. Marijuana. It's just dumb, that over marijuana over weed, because every college kid does weed. At least it's not like a violent offense. But fuck, I mean, look at the NFL. You might be suspended 4 games for that. And if he was in Colorado, it'd be an interesting question. Anyway, let's get on with the first guy that we got is Courtland Sutton, and he is from SMU. So let's kind of check out what we see in this guy's tape. Alrighty, here we go. So Courtland, see what you got, kid. Courtland Sutton. A lot of these guys do these reaction videos, like on high school shit and tape, and this is what people are going to be watching is they're going to be watching basically highlight tape. So here you go, jump ball. Oh, that's a beautiful catch. That's like a Plexico Burris play. So this guy's wingspan is long. Here's a lofty throw to the end zone. I didn't like how he didn't high point it there. I would have liked if he got in front of the other guys and high pointed that ball. You look at the Niners, they have Marquise Goodwin, but this guy is going to be a good in the red zone. And there you see him kind of mossing another guy. Here you see him out in the open field. Decently fast runner, not incredibly fast. What do I think about Le'Veon Bell? I think Le'Veon Bell could be coming home. Could be coming to the Niners. But I would probably just draft some other running backs. I'm going to do running backs another night. So the running back class is so damn deep. So here you go. We got this guy Hicks, Ben Hicks, throwing a wobbly ball, but he's wide open. There you see the speed. This guy's an athletic kid, okay? I do like this receiver. Shades of Calvin Johnson for sure in his game. It seems like he runs precise routes. Seems like a smart kid. I'm liking this kid more and more. I see Calvin Johnson. I see, this kid is definitely worth a top 15 pick, in the draft. He's pretty special, and look at him. I mean, this kid's strong. So, this kid can box kids out. This guy can box people out. I just think his catching could get a little bit better. Like, I want to see him high point some balls. I want to see him high point there. He can high point a little bit. So far, I really like the tape, though. I think this kid's pretty good. I would say first-round talent. First-round talent. All right. I like Sutton's game. I do. Yep, a lot of open receivers in Conference USA. So he's a receiver that's a bigger receiver that he's going to have to be like a Calvin Johnson or somebody else. Now, this is an interesting prospect. This is Kiki Kuti. Kiki Kuti is coming up next here on Rover Sports. So this is what Kiki Kuti is all about. And this guy is from Lubbock. He's, you look at the guy on the Dolphins. The guy on the Dolphins from Lubbock is really fast as well. I think it's Grant or something. But let's see QT. I mean, this guy can fly. This guy's going to be exciting with the ball in his hands. There he goes. There he's running. Looks relatively fast. These are all highlights, remember, so we've yet to see if this guy can cut on a dime and if this guy can be really successful, but I just want to see if he jumps out. That's a very nice move in the space, kind of like Kadarius Toney of Florida, very similar, very fast feet. I would like this guy to be a third-round draft pick for somebody. You know, Devin Smith didn't pan out. There you see a throw, QT. This guy could be a really good player. He's just like a 5'10 gadget type of guy. The NFL is leaning towards these types of receivers. I mean, this guy is very creative to use in a package. Now, these are all fly routes, so his route repertoire is not exactly developed. Not like a Christian Kirk, but this guy is like a slot receiver. He's a good third or fourth round draft pick, QT. I really like this guy's game. And here you see Nick Shimonek putting it in the air. He easily beat his guy. This guy's just wiry, fast. This dude is going to be pretty scary. Now, this is an interesting one I'm going to talk about right here. And look at QT break off that tackle. That's what I love to see. I mean, this dude's dangerous. I'd love to see teams take him in the third round. He's dangerous player. This is a pretty deep wide receiver draft. I really like a lot of these kids at the board. Hey, Marcus, how you doing, man? James Washington from Oklahoma State. That's actually the one hot take I have, Marcos, is because I'm not a huge fan of James Washington. I don't think Washington's explosive. I think he's short. I don't think I just don't think he's ever going to create separation. I know he put up big numbers in the Big 12, but I like this guy Aitman so much better. His game translates a lot more. Aitman isn't number one guy. Aitman is a first rounder. James Washington, I wouldn't even draft him until the 5th round. I mean, whoever's drafting him is making a mistake. I'm a fan of this Aitman kid because Aitman, although he can't really run, although he can't really run as fast maybe as Washington. So, separation's key. Anthony Miller is coming up next. That one I'm super excited about. So here you see Mason Rudolph. I'm not a Rudolph fan either. Whoever takes him is making a big mistake. But Marcel Aitman doing pretty good. A lot of broken plays, though. He's definitely not a Cortland Sutton. No frickin' way. So far, out of all these highlight tapes, I have to admit that I like Cortland Sutton. I like QT because the value of QT is going to be very good. Antonio Callaway. Thanks, Falcons Fury. I hope your boys take care of the Eagles tomorrow, Falcons Fury. I really do need to... Yeah, Antonio Callaway, oh my God, is he an amazing route runner. But he is in serious trouble. I mean, he used credit card. First of all, there was a rape case surrounding him. Then he said he was too high to rape a girl. Then there was a credit card situation where he basically bought up he used all this textbook money for illegally buying up shit. And, so I like this Aitman kid. He's like a second-round talent. He's not getting that much separation. He's a big-body guy. Like Alan Lazard at the senior day, Alan Lazard is going to need to step up. But this guy, I'm not sure about this guy's 40 time. That's the only thing. This guy's pretty polished, but he's going to need to kill it in the 40 times because the guy can high-point footballs. Marcel Aitman is pretty good. Yeah, the Steelers. Juju Smith-Schuster, man. What a pick, Marcos. That was fucking awesome. But yeah, Antonio Callaway, I'd stay far away. Take him in the 7th round as a flyer, because then he could be like Lyle Collins. Remember how Lyle Collins everybody was, talking about Lyle in that kind of capacity. Here's my guy, Anthony Miller. This is just one of my favorite kids because he comes from a smaller school. But Anthony Miller, man, he's going to be at the senior. He's going to be at the senior week. So yeah. I think Anthony Miller is going to be at the Senior Bowl, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Trying to get tickets to that right now to see the Senior Bowl. So, oh man, we're going to do all this dapping and stuff before we get I want to get to some actual highlights. Okay, don't worry, we got the highlights. So Anthony Miller, he steps up for the big games. And one of you guys said Antonio Brown. He's a little smaller. Let's see more of his highlights. And Richie James, you said, is a sleeper. Might have to check that guy out as well. I'm doing the top guys tonight. This kid, look at him. At the very worst, he's Juju Smith-Schuster. Guy has the ball in his hands all the time. Anthony Miller's an end of the first round lock. I mean, he's Brandon Cooks, at the very worst. Look at him high point this ball. Guy's just a gamer. Cagey, gamer, ultimate competitor type of kid. Great kid. Out of all the receivers in this draft, I think that this kid has the least bust potential because he's just going to be production on top of production. This kid, look at how he creates separation. Riley Ferguson puts it in a really good spot for him. Riley Ferguson, I like some of these balls from Riley. I was talking with Jet Central, and we were saying how Riley could be like a Colin Kaepernick. And absolutely, if you create a cool scheme for Riley Ferguson, this guy has some talent. Now, can he memorize an NFL playbook? Who the heck's going to know? But if you simplify the game for Riley, boy, oh boy. Yeah, Anthony Miller in Dallas absolutely is a beautiful fit. I mean, Dak Prescott's not the best deep ball thrower, but again, you're going to use, Dez, and then you have this kid with Cole Beasley. That's going to be pretty fun because you need some explosive passing games. Witten, Dez, Rico Gavers. So fitting in Dallas, sure. I'd like to see him maybe go to the Buffalo Bills. I think that'd be a good pick for him. So, and listen, John, I think that if Miller goes to San Francisco, holy shit, that would be beautiful. Imagine having Marquise and having Anthony Miller. But the one thing about Anthony Miller that I'm going to say is that you have Marquise Goodwin. And that's a very similar guy. So maybe the Niners will go after Aitman or a bigger receiver or a Mark Andrews because you already have a burner. But if you put Miller and Goodwin together, I would really, really like that. But it really looks like it's going to be a running back. So we all agree on Anthony Miller being a complete stud and not overrated. The one guy I'm leaning towards overrated, Marcel Aitman, has a decent tape. Kiki QT is a good player. Cortland Sutton is also impressing. Damn, it's hard on these highlight tapes to really hate guys. James Washington's the one receiver that I really don't like, but these guys are all going to be pretty special. And then I'd probably stay away from Callaway. Yeah, exactly. Jimmy can make anybody, definitely fit around him. So here's Christian Kirk here from Texas A&M, playing with Nick Starkel. He's played with all types of quarterback. This guy's a gamer too. This guy's like Anthony Miller. So I think Christian Kirk is going to be a complete stud. I mean, he looks really good as well. Christian Kirk's the type of guy that at A&M, basically, and I don't want to see him get caught there. At A&M, he was surrounded by dog shit, like after, like Kenny Hill and, Kyle Allen and all this, turnover and Scott Woodward saying, we're out with Kevin Sumlin. I think that this guy could be Santonio Holmes. That's who he kind of reminds me of because he makes unbelievable catches. At the very worst, like Emmanuel Sanders, like when you look at this tape, this guy has size, speed, and he's also high-pointing balls in ways that even Calvin Ridley is not doing. So I think I'm actually leaning towards Christian Kirk could be my second receiver. It could be Cortland Sutton. Christian Kirk might even be the best receiver in this draft because this guy, he honestly, if he runs a great time at the combine, he will be an Odell Beckham type of player. Like, I'm not just saying that because he wears a similar number. I think that this guy is literally, he could be like an Odell Beckham. And then look at him returning punts as well. Like, if it's Saquon Barkley or this kid, I mean, come on. This kid, I feel bad saying this about Anthony Miller, but I would take Christian Kirk, I think, over Anthony Miller as well. I'd take him over Calvin Ridley. I think Kirk is a top 15 talent, and he's really getting slept on. He didn't play with any receivers. Matt Collins, pretty damn good. pretty damn good for the Eagles. He's okay. They're not utilizing him in an incredible way, but Matt Collins, yeah, pretty solid player. Kind of a steal in the third round of the draft. So here we go. We got Calvin Ridley now. This guy is mostly just a burner, and because he plays for Alabama, this kid is considered the top of the best wide receiver in this draft. Although I like Christian Kirk just so much more than Calvin Ridley. Although these are some scary moves actually. Looking at this tape, all these kids look fast, don't they? It just comes down to the interviewing process. I mean, I've seen Calvin Ridley, and through the interviewing process, he seemed a little grumpy at some of the interviews. So, when you go into the NFL exec, you don't want to be a diva wide receiver. I don't think so, man. I mean, I would not cut Reuben Foster. I think that would be a disaster. Reuben is a staple of your team. Listen, Joe Williams got kicked out of college, and the Niners still drafted him. So, I mean, it's definitely a bad look, but I certainly would not cut Reuben Foster. And so I have to look that up. I mean, that fucking sucks, that Reuben Foster. And then it's going to, of course, give credence to everybody that, was weary about his friends. Remember him and Dalvin Cook went through that process last year. But Calvin Ridley, at times he quits on games. I've watched Alabama, and maybe because he knows that Tua was the better guy, but I've watched him quit on games. So it might be just above the head sort of thing. It's just mentally, is he going to be there? And in terms of catching the football, I like Kirk catching the ball just as much. Courtland Sutton catching it, because this guy's a body catcher. You're seeing right now that he's a body catcher. So, yeah, that's not a terrible comparison to Nelson Aguilar. But hopefully, for Ridley's sake, he'll be better. I like Christian Kirk probably the most after seeing this again. I like Christian Kirk. So here we're going to show an interview with a couple of the guys. We're going to show Courtland. We're going to just see the interview, and then after that, I think I'm going to go and head out and yeah. Guys, I would not release Reuben Foster. I mean, seriously, he is the staple point of this defense. You're allowed to make mistakes. I'm more lenient on stuff like that because I've seen Reuben Foster's personality, and oh God, man. I mean, then you're going to have to fill in a first-round linebacker. What do I think of Sutton? I really like his game. Courtland Sutton, he's a guy that, and I'm going to play an interview with him now. Courtland Sutton's a guy that that I kind of see as like a Calvin Johnson type. He's fast. He can make plays. And I'll show you an interview with Courtland right now so we can see what kind of person
sitting around
he is.
And talking to my family, my coaches, as I said, I decided to come back for my for another season.
Those words back in January were like sweet music to SMU football fans.
Courtland Sutton, look out for SMU this year. You will hear his name a lot this year.
And with the lure of the National Football League, a tough decision for Sutton, but a carefully thought out one.
Being a 21-year-old, I thought that I was really ready to, but having such a strong support group around me, Coach Morris, Coach Stepp, my parents, having them around me to help make that decision, it made it a lot easier.
So the three-time All-Conference wide receiver and sport management major came back for some unfinished business on the field and the promise of a diploma.
I like the kid. I like the kid. I think he's going to be good.
Here with Calvin Ridley, wide receiver.
Here's Calvin. He can be testy sometimes with reporters.
It's August now. I know you're excited. The season's finally about to start. How
he's an
has
intense
this
guy.
Preparation been for Alabama?
I think we had a great offseason. Coach Conklin said himself that we had one of the best offseasons in Alabama history.
Nice sound on the Alabama job with the freaking media day shit.
Everybody just focusing.
You can barely hear him freaking
you have
talking.
A talented offensive core from your quarterback position to the depth at the running back, and then also the depth at wide receiver. And you also have a new offensive coordinator in Brian Dable. How has Brian Dable prepared you guys for this season?
The meetings we have are really good to getting everybody to know what they are doing when we come out on practice. And our leadership in the offensive room is really good and getting everybody to buy in. So I think we're doing really good so far. And,
started off.
So one thing is about Calvin Ridley is that this kid is not he doesn't look like a diva, like the center of attention. He actually seems like a really quiet kid. Quiet, competitive, nasty, tough kid. But just really quiet. So that's going to be interesting to see for the interviewing process. He's not as like, usually you see receivers that are uber confident that love to talk, and it seems like Calvin is just down to, just down to do other things.
How did you personally
not talking?
From being that
Look at this smoke show. This girl's hot. Interviewing Anthony right here.
All-time leading records holder at Memphis.
It seems like all my life I've had a chip on my shoulder. I might have been too small or too slow, but when I step on that field, I always prove somebody wrong. So
I agree, like Marcus. I like
when I got to Memphis, it was the same way. So it was just back to the routine.
Memphis is your hometown. I know that city means a whole lot to you. What has it meant to you to put on that Memphis jersey week in and week out?
It means a lot. The city of Memphis, they're behind us 100%. I believe they just lit the bridge up with blue lights. It's just that type of spirit.
So, yeah, a lot of you guys are saying that Christian Kirk's like your #1 guy, and I agree. I think that Kirk from this video is is a guy that has the best catching ability. He's the fastest kid. He's a humble guy. I think he's a slam dunk home run in this draft. I think he's going to be absolutely incredible, when you watch this kid play. I would take him over Courtland Sutton because he's just so versatile. You could put him back there to receive punts. He's like an Odell Beckham, and I don't think he's going to come with as much baggage. He's such a weapon in this draft. So I agree, Phil, Harris. I totally agree. I think Ridley's he's boomer bust a tiny bit, and I just think Kirk is really like guaranteed to be the guy. So a lot of people, Reuben Foster getting arrested, it just sucks because I know Reuben's a better guy than that. Gosh, I just wish he knew better than that. And listen, Gian, I mean, it's better to be shy than to be an outright jerk off, you know what I mean? During this process, it's better to be shy than be an overall jerk. Let's look at Courtland Sutton one more time. Try to figure out, could he compete with Christian Kirk for the #1 slot on this board? So there you see him. Is he Plexico Burress or will he be a Megatron Johnson? And the one thing is, we need to look at how fast this kid is. But this kid's a good player. I mean, this kid, look at how he goes down the field, though. So I don't see him being a Kelvin Benjamin. I see him being a better receiver than that. Yeah, this guy's like Josh Gordon. I mean, this player reminds me of Josh Gordon. Now, can he separate? I want to see if he can separate because you don't want to see this guy just become a tight end. I want this guy to go vertical on some folks. That's what the great ones, that's what Reggie Wayne was able to do. So here we go. I want to see this again. I want to see some of these highlights again from Cortland. Okay, so here we go. More Sutton highlights. Yeah, I mean, this kid's a decent player. I like the kid quite a bit. Let's try one more time. I don't get why it's not going back to the beginning for me. Stupid. How the highlights are not going back, but Courtland Sutton's like the most intriguing receiver in this draft. Exactly. This is the Conference USA or the American. The American Conference just sucks, Jordan Lastly. Let's see Jordan Lastly. Jordan Lastly's from UCLA. I like Lastly. I remember him from Josh Rosen. I might go ahead and look at some of the other guys back in the past. you know, or guys that are more towards sleepers. I mean, Walter Campbell is a good site. I'm going to also use the NFL Draft Tracker. There's going to be some sleepers that I'm also going to show. Marcos and Corey Davis was my guy. You know, really productive receiver at Western Michigan, but this year he kind of really struggled. And listen, I still have faith in Corey Davis because of all the injuries and because Marcus, you know, is still developing and they're not really opening up the playbook. It's a very stale old playbook. So again, I still have faith in Corey Davis, Marcos. I'm not selling my stock on that kid yet. So, listen, guys, this was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was nice hopping on, talking about some ball and everything. It's sad that Ruben had to get arrested for smoking pot. Just stupid, stupid stuff that, again, Niner, Empire, and John Lynch won't put up with that kind of immaturity. I don't think you should cut the guy, but I think that he should suffer some consequences and just know how fortunate he is to be a San Francisco Niner. I definitely would not cut him. Give him another chance. It wasn't, you know, each crime is different in its level of significance. And smoking pot, I mean, that's legal for, you know, states and college kids. It's harmless, but at the same time, I mean, the league doesn't view it that way, and it's just a dumb, immature decision. But yeah, Reuben Foster, and listen, guys, I think this is going to be a good lead into tomorrow's games. I think we're going to have a lot of fucking fun tomorrow. Hopefully Atlanta takes care of business. Atlanta, Titans, Steelers, and Saints. I hope all those teams win. Jacksonville winning, you know, that would kind of be funny, Jags, Titans, but I don't see that happening. So I'll see y'all. Y'all are great.